Fare is what you pay on the bus, and we don't even do that anymore. Welcome to 5-Minute Gospel Reflections. I'm Dr. Ben Safransky. So today's passage is another one, in my opinion, that is simple on the surface, but that I have trouble really applying. And I think it's kind of like the knock and the door shall be opened passage that we talked about before, where if you think of it in a very simple, immediate, and earthly way, you're going to be really disappointed, right? Because what Jesus says is, basically, if you're good, then good things will happen to you. Well, if I think of it in that simple, immediate, and earthly way, then I start to expect that my efforts and my good deeds are going to be rewarded basically, quickly, right now on earth. And we know that this is not always true in our lives, right? We encounter opposition, even when we're trying to do good. We encounter persecution sometimes. Could be in the workplace, could be in the public sphere, could be at school, any of those things. And we sure as heck encounter a lot of unfairness. That unfairness could happen in small things, like I put money into the vending machine and my candy doesn't come out. Or in much bigger things, where say tragedy or sickness or real sorrow befalls us, despite the fact that we're doing our best. Well, something that my dad always used to say to us, that I have taken to saying to my own children when they complain about something being unfair, is fair is what you pay on the bus. And while we try to make life just, we can't always make it fair. So our own lives are an illustration of this. And for me, I also think that the lives of the saints are great illustrations of this. Illustrations of the fact that this is a marathon, not a sprint, and that sometimes justice, reward, fairness is going to extend into the next life. So I think of martyrs like St. Maximilian Kolbe, who spent his lifetime doing good and was put to death at Auschwitz for doing good, for helping a fellow prisoner. I think of someone like St. Padre Pio, who had an incredible spiritual power and spiritual connection to God, but was persecuted by those inside the church who were afraid of his influence and his power. I think of someone like St. John Newman, who was the Bishop of Philadelphia, and who died at age 48 of a heart attack on the street of Philadelphia, who, in the middle of so many efforts to strengthen the church in Philadelphia to serve immigrants, died believing that he was a failure at what he was doing, even though in retrospect we know that he was an amazing success. For me, the difficulty and the challenge are trying to keep my eyes on the prize. So while conflict and opposition, persecution, sorrow, these are all very real and they really hurt, it's remembering that the reward, that the measure packed down and shaken over and spilling out into my lap is mostly going to come in the next life. So I want to challenge you to think about how you react when life is unfair. When you treat someone well and they treat you badly in return. Or when you're doing your best and something bad happens. And I would challenge you to think of that attitude and meditate on the lives of Jesus and the saints, who, though they faced real sorrow and pain and difficulty, always kept in mind that the glory was ahead of them. May God bless you, and I hope you continue to have a happy and fruitful Lent.